What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Being Beautifully Honest podcast. And today I wanted to talk about the nurse who quit her job live and just share my thoughts on the story. This is something that has definitely gone viral regarding her quitting her job. And so almost everyone knows about it. It's not a new story, but I wanted to talk about it because when I initially saw the video, I had some thoughts, and it's nothing negative about her as a person, of course, but I just wanted to share my thoughts. And because it's now come out that she has second thoughts about doing so, I just really wanted to discuss it on this podcast and then get your thoughts about it as well. So the story comes from The Grio, and it's Georgia nurse who quit over the CocoV has second thoughts. Melissa Thomas Scott told Tamron Hall on IG Live that she reacted out of stress and that she regretted her decision to quit the position at the hospital. So it says a Georgia nurse who quit her job after she was assigned to work a floor with CocoV patients says she regrets quitting. Melissa Thomas Scott posted a video last week after she quit her job with Phoebe Putney Memorial Hospital in Albany, Georgia, one of the hardest hit facilities in the state in dealing with CocoV cases. I quit. I care about the patients and all, but my kids and my life, they matter. They come first, Scott said in the viral video, and I'm going to play that as well.
We're having to work. So I just got to work. I'm not trying to be unprofessional. I'm upset. I just quit my job. I clocked in, found out that I'm being sent to a corona floor when they know that I have kids at home who I can't send away to stay away from me. My manager sent me to a floor that is being tested for corona. She knows my health history. She knows all of this. I quit. I care about the patients and all, but my family and my life, they matter. They come first. Lavika Stewart is evil. She's evil. She knows my health history. I told her my kids don't have anybody to go to while they're here. I can't send my kids away like everybody else. I'm done. I'm leaving. My life matters and my kids matter. Screw this.
All right, so Scott, a mother of four, is a breast cancer survivor. She took this stance because she thought that the risk was too great to take for herself and her children. Now Scott is reconsidering. She told Tamron Hall on IG Live Wednesday that she reacted out of stress and that she regretted her decision. I regret how I handled it. If I would have remained calm and just thought it through, I wouldn't be here right now. I worked hard for my nursing degree, of course. I don't want to just give up nursing, and I love where I work. I doubt that they are going to let me come back, and I do regret how I handled it. You're not thinking clearly when you're upset. Scott said also weighing heavily on her decision was the fact that her husband works out of state, which would have left her to return home daily to her children after she worked on the CocoV patients. My kids don't have anybody to go to while they're here. I can't send my kids away like everybody else, she said. So in the viral video, Scott also revealed that she still goes to oncologist appointments every 3 months and was told not to work on floors with CocoV patients. Now she's urging healthcare workers who also might be frustrated and ready to throw in the towel to do things the right way. Show compassion in situations, act like you care about your colleagues, and we can get through this together, Scott said. There is a way to handle things. And this is why I wanted to do this episode of the podcast, because honestly, when I initially saw the viral video where she quit her job, I wasn't upset with her. I believe anybody with a heart can understand how she felt, because this is something that is really crazy, is just spreading like wildfire throughout the world, not just our nation and not just a particular region. And so her being someone who is a breast cancer survivor, that alone is something that would put her in a position where she would feel stressed out and scared, just not knowing who's around her, period. let alone on the job, that she's working and that she, of course, chose to do. This was her profession. And right now, a lot of our healthcare workers are being regarded as they're like the military. You're on the front lines. And, many people who join the military, they have never had the experience of serving on the front lines. And some may have never thought that they would have that experience because all is well in La La Land. And so, it's all good. I'll get my sign-on bonus. I'll get deployments and possibly, get to be stationed in places that are really nice, and I can have amazing travel experiences and things like that. But then when it gets real and then they get deployed to go to a place that is dangerous, then it can be, very, very scary. And most go through with it, but there are a few that decide that they're going to go AWOL, or they're going to quit, and or just get dishonorably discharged, because some people are just like, look, this is my life. I'm not risking it for anyone else or for anything. I didn't sign on for this, even though I technically did sign on for this, but I didn't think that it would ever happen in my lifetime. I didn't think that it would personally ever affect me. And so when I saw her video and I heard the story, what my initial thoughts were was, man, it is so easy to get into your feelings and move on emotion, but emotional decisions can be expensive decisions. And especially we who are women, and I'm not just talking about a particular race, but I am an African American woman, but women, they say we tend to be more emotional than men. So sometimes it's an easy thing to just fall back on the emotions and say, people are going to understand because I'm a woman and I have babies, I have children. But if we put ourselves to be in a position where men alike, or maybe women who don't have children and who have not had the health issues or anything like that, and we put ourselves in a position where we feel like, well, we're I don't want to say we're better, but I should have a higher rank in terms of not having to be put in harm's way and let other people go and deal with it, because my life is more fragile, and it almost gives people the feeling that you feel like your life is better than others, and other people are putting themselves in harm's way too. And so it's rough for everybody all around. So when I initially heard her speaking, I tend to listen to the fine details that some people may skip. And what struck me more than her being a breast cancer survivor, than her saying her husband works out of state and she doesn't have anyone to send her children to, and she has children at home and she doesn't want to put her children at risk, so she can't be around the CoCoV patients and then possibly, become a carrier and bring it home to her children and get them sick. What I heard the most, what struck me, the most, was when she called out her supervisor's name. Now, you heard what she said. You heard her call the supervisor's name. Now, listen, guys, don't come for me in the comment section, because this is not a knock on a race of people. It just is what it is. But when I heard the name, what I initially thought was, okay, here we go. They have had clashes before. They don't like each other. It is possible that her supervisor may have been a colleague at one point on the same level as she was, and then this person got a position where they were promoted, and now the person who was on the same level as her before is now her supervisor. Again, I don't know that to be a fact, but I'm just saying that sometimes people lead with clues that they don't really realize that they are leading with. And when she called out her supervisor's name, that woman clearly was not somebody who was not Black. And listen, like I said, don't come for me in the comments, because I am not saying that Black women can't be friends with people of other races, because I know that's not the truth, because I have friends of other races. That's just my life. I do believe, though, that they either used to be friends and are now at odds with each other, or maybe they were never friends, but there have been some issues there. And it is possible that the supervisor did it on purpose. I am not saying that the supervisor was right in the situation, but what I am saying is that it is very sad and unfortunate that she put herself in the position leading with her emotions and her feelings. You cannot be led by your feelings because it can hurt your finances. I don't know if this will hurt her finances. It is possible that she can still get a job somewhere else, but because this thing went viral, it makes her look like a liability. And yeah, this is a situation right now that is unprecedented in terms of the rapid pace that it is flowing, and it is affecting the United States as if we are, another country. It's just sometimes we who live in the United States get comfortable and we're on the inside looking out, and it's like, oh, that stuff always happens in other countries, or it happens in the continent of Africa or wherever. It doesn't happen here. I'm so sorry that's happening, but we're living our, lives comfortably and confidently. And then when a situation like this happens, where people like the nurses and the doctors who are seen as high level, highly paid medical professionals are not being given the adequate things that they need to provide care and to protect themselves, it's a scary thing, and it makes them feel vulnerable. So I'm quite sure that she felt extremely vulnerable and she didn't really know what to do. But because we live in an age where people just want to take their gripes to social media, it's such an easy thing to do. We have to learn how to not hit that button. We have to learn how to not go there. And I'll tell you, I thankfully haven't had a situation like that, but being an employer, I know how it feels when you have someone that says negative things about you and you don't get to share your side of the story. I am not sure if we will get to hear the side of the story of the supervisor, because it is possible that the supervisor may try to come at her for defamation of character. I mean, she called her evil. I don't know if, she can really sue her for calling her evil, but she put her name out there. So there is a privacy issue there that was violated. Yeah, you can look that information up. I'm not saying it's not public knowledge, but in the manner that it was done. This woman, the supervisor, didn't ask to have her information put out there. And when she did this video, she clearly wanted people to know who her supervisor was. So she said her first and last name. And I was like, oh my God, this could end up not very good for her. But I don't know. Stranger things have happened and it could turn around for her. I don't wish her any harm. I am happy to hear that she has regrets. Normally, people who have a heart and who have a conscience, when they do things on the fly and they get in their feelings and move on things in their feelings, they do tend to think about it later and they're like, oh shoot, why did I do that? Why did I say that? I screwed up. Or, it's possible that her husband and her got into it and he was highly pissed off. And it's like, we're a 2-income household. How could you do something like this? And now, you don't have a job and this and that and the other. I don't know. I know nurses are needed everywhere. So she possibly may get another opportunity not too long from now, because there's a huge need for healthcare professionals and healthcare workers. I have a client that just recently came in who just moved to my area, and she is a traveling nurse. And she said that they were offering her, around $5,000 or $6,000 a week to go and work up in New York at the hospitals up there. That's a lot of money. To some people that may not be enough, that may not be worth it to do that. She said she may do it. She's considering it. She didn't make up her mind about whether she was going to do it or not. I don't know if it's something that I would do, but again, I chose not to go into the healthcare industry. I'm in the wellness and beauty industry, so it's completely different. But I knew that there were some things that I just couldn't deal with, so I never could go into nursing. And there were a lot of people already before this crazy situation blew up that were fed up and frustrated with the nursing industry and wanted to get out of it, either completely or from a full-time capacity, because it was just too much. Because sometimes it's just like they don't get really treated well by the patients, or again, like this woman was calling out her supervisor. I've heard stories about the people who are in the supervisory positions who are just taking advantage and not, treating them right, or giving other nurses favoritism, and it's just like crazy. So there's a lot of different factors, I believe, that was involved when she came out to do the Viral Now video and explaining how she just was like, I quit, I'm not doing this, my life matters, my children matter, I care about the patients, but I'm out. There definitely was a different way that she could have went about it. And again, I kind of went off on a tangent, I know, guys, but what I was about to get into was the fact that being an employer, I know what it feels like to have someone that formerly worked for you that would say salacious things and lies about you because they want people to be on their side and they want people to feel for them, when these people don't know the half of it. Listen, because it hasn't happened to me, thankfully, a lot of times, but I can name definitely 2 situations where 2 former employees one was dismissed or let go, and the other quit, but they both left in a very nasty way and sent me nasty long text messages. And I'm like, who does that to someone that they used to work for? I was your boss and you have the nerve to send me a long nasty text message, and I could have stooped down to their level and responded in kind, but that's just not who I am, so I didn't go there. But what I'm saying is the way they went about doing things was completely unprofessional, and I know that they had second thoughts about it after the fact. Their pride would probably never allow them to come back and apologize. Of course, I would never allow them to come and work in my business ever again. But when you do things like that, there are going to be repercussions that follow it. So we don't know what the end game will be for her. I do wish her well because, again, like I said, I do understand her situation with her diagnosis, and thankfully she's recovered, but she's still being seen every 3 months to get checkups. That's a scary thing. No one wants to go through that. No one wants to have the thought of them possibly catching something and possibly, passing it on to their family. And I did see a video where they said that this CocoV situation, a lot of it is transmitted amongst and between those that you are in family with, those that you're close to, because those are the people that you're around. It's a little bit hard to social distance yourself from your family when you live with them, when you are with them all the time. So that is one of the things that we who are not in places where we can just keep isolated from the family members inside of the same house, it's just kind of a hard thing to do. And especially if you're a mother and you have children, how do you isolate yourself from your children when you're the only one who is there to take care of them? I don't really know how that would work. But again, I do understand and I sympathize with her health situation, but it should have been handled a different way. And I hate to see when people who are very brilliant and bright and smart get in their feelings and then have regret after the fact. So she clearly is a big enough person to come out and say that she regrets it. She's not trying to stand her ground on that and make something more out of it than it already has been. But we just can't operate in our emotions and our feelings and think that it's going to work out well for us. It rarely happens in the real world that way, where it just will work out in our favor when we operate in our feelings and in our emotions. Because I can guarantee you, her supervisor, she's doing fine, and she probably will continue to do fine, and just be, moving on about her business, or she may choose to try to make it right in the court system. I don't know. We shall see. But again, I wish her the best. I would love to know what you guys think about the situation. How do you feel about it? Are you happy that she has expressed the fact that she does have regret for how she handled it? Do you think that how she handled it was okay? Like, do you agree with how she handled it? Would you stand your ground and just say, yeah, screw it, I said what I said and I ain't taking it back? And do you feel that the regret is more so because of how she handled it and she's just really feeling guilty about it? Or is it because after maybe having a talk with the hubby that now she has regrets about it? I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about it. But thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Being Beautifully Honest podcast. I invite you to share, like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so you know whenever I do upload a new episode. And until the next episode, guys, this is the Minister of Beauty, here to share the Bible. That's business, inspiration, beauty, life, and enjoyment. So I hope you all have an amazingly blessed and beautiful day.